Welcome back, everyone. This is one of the most requested guns I've gotten to review in a while. It is the SCCY CPX-2. You can see this is a two-tone version, but this gun has been, like I said, requested by a ton of viewers because it's gotten some pretty mixed reviews out there. Some of the early ones are a little rough. It seems though that the trend is that the reviews are getting better. My guess is the guns are actually getting better as well. So what we're gonna do is keep shooting the gun, step inside, talk about my experience with it, why it's popular. I picked this one up at KVAR. Right now, these guns are extremely budget friendly, I guess is the way to say it. So that's one of the reasons why it's so very popular, and they're available at a lot of different places. But what we're gonna do now, keep shooting some steel, hopefully hit some steel, and then step inside. Earlier in the review, when I said that there was some mixed reviews when they first came out, I really want to clarify that because I'm sure it made a few folks' ears perk up. Those were the Gen 1 guns. These are the Gen 2. All the ones that you see out there in the stores now are going to be the Gen 2. They look similar, but they're going to have different internals a little bit. So the Gen 2s, the reviews have almost all been positive. So moving on from that, basically what you get with the gun is you get the gun, obviously 2 magazines, one with the extended finger foreplate there, and one with the flat. Honestly, they both feel good. Even with the flat one, with me having extra large size hands, I can still get about half a finger around there. And with the one with the finger groove on there, I can get a full finger around there. So it just really depends what you're looking for and obviously the size of your hands. But putting that aside, you get your cardboard box here, warranty card, owner's manual, a couple extra base plates, trigger lock, and that's pretty much it. So one of the ways that they try to save cost and keep the cost down low on this pistol is by not shipping it in a nice expensive box. So just keep that in mind if you're purchasing it. However, when you're out on the range, you're not going to care what the box that it came in was. So I guess it's not that big of a deal. When you first pick up the pistol, the first thing you notice is just how lightweight it is. For a 9mm pistol, this thing is extremely lightweight. It comes in at 15 ounces unloaded. And just to give you sort of a reference, if you will, the Glock 26 is 22 ounces, and even the single stack XDS-9 that I reviewed recently is actually 23 ounces. So this thing is dramatically lighter than that, even though it's a pistol that holds 10 rounds versus the other ones. Obviously, the 26 holds 10 rounds as well, but the XDS is only a single stack, and it actually weighs more. So very, very lightweight, no getting around that. We'll start going over some of the features, I suppose. First thing you'll notice here is the frame. It is a Zytel infused polymer, and Zytel is a material that they put into polymer frames to make them stronger, essentially. Same stuff that Glock uses on there, so certainly no gripes about that. It's very high quality stuff. It feels good in the hand. Minor sort of texture. It's not really stippling, but certainly you could stipple it if you want to, but good grip texture on there, come out with the finger grooves, and the gun does give you a good positive purchase when you pick it up, and it does feel good in the hands. The slide here is a stainless steel material, and once we pull it apart here in a second, you're going to see that the frame itself is an aluminum frame. So again, keeping the weight down, not using steel in there, opting for aluminum, and certainly aluminum has proven itself over the years with the SIG pistols as well as many others that it's quite durable for a frame material. So I guess without further ado, let's take the sucker down. Just like disassembling any other gun, when you disassemble it, the first thing you want to do is clear it. So we're going to drop the magazine there, lock the slide to the rear by pushing up here on the slide lock. Of note, slide lock is not ambidextrous. On the right side of the pistol, there are no controls, so all the controls are on the left side, and really that's just the slide lock and the mag release. So once you ensure that the pistol is clear, what you want to do now is pull up on this little piece right here, and you pull that out, let the slide go forward, the slide comes right off. Note that we do have a stainless steel barrel, obviously, steel guide rod, and it does have a double captive spring there. You can look, no real machine marks, especially considering the price point of this. It's machined relatively well on the inside, certainly can't complain about that. And here is the aluminum frame rails that I alluded to earlier, made of 7075 T6 aluminum, so very durable. It's the same stuff that mil-spec AR receivers are made out of, just for reference. But you can see they do have full-length rails, so it does do a pretty good job of handling that recoil. Of note, while I have it apart, one thing that they also say helps with recoil is these little grooves cut in the back of the frame here. They say that helps absorb recoil. Well, I'm not too sure about how much that helps, but one thing I can tell you is that being a double stack pistol, holding 10 rounds, obviously 10 plus 1, it has to be a little bit wider. And that width does help distribute the recoil back into your palm. It distributes it across a wider surface, and there is less recoil than you would think with a 15-ounce gun. That said, the recoil is still a little bit stout for some people. For me, not really a big deal because I'm relatively strong, relatively young, not that young anymore, I suppose, male. But some people who are a little bit unsure of themselves, maybe smaller stature, they may think the recoil is a little stout. But that's pretty much it. That's the disassembly. Reassembly is the exact opposite as you take it apart. Hopefully we can do it here on camera the first time. Once you put it back, you put your guide rod back in. And again, whenever the camera rolls, guide rods like to mess with you. You just slide the frame on. And at this point, you need to line your barrel up. Let's see if I can show you. So that way the little lug in there is exposed. And drop your piece back in. Make sure it sits flush and clicks in. Let it go home. And the pistol is reassembled. The gun also comes with 3-dot sights. Has nice serrations here on the slide that really do help you when you want to pull that slide back or rack the slides. Some folks that are a little weary about that, that will definitely aid in that. The slide stop here is nice and big, so locking the slide back easy as well as releasing it. The trigger on the gun is something that a lot of folks talk about. Let's get into that. It's clear. And a little bit of play up here. And then once it starts, it's pretty consistent and smooth the whole way through, but it's somewhat heavy. You have to get all the way to the back while that hammer is dropping, and then it breaks. Reset is all the way out, essentially. You go all the way out, it resets. So, let's get it on the gauge here and see what it actually is pulling out. I'm guessing somewhere between 8.5 to 9.5. We'll see. I haven't actually measured it yet. I've heard reports out there of about 8, though, from other folks. Some folks are saying 9.5, so this one I'm guessing somewhere in there. And just under 8.5 on that one. So it's a little bit heavy, no getting around it, but certainly it's doable. I mean, obviously, if you're used to firing single action 1911s or even a Glock, it's going to seem heavier. But for practical self-defense distances, it's really not an issue, and I was able to hit steel with it, no problem. And the majority of the shooting I was doing out there was somewhere between 12 and 20 meters, so you certainly can still make it ring or hit what you're shooting at anyway. The gun's been out for a couple years now, but I realize many of you out there have actually never held one or seen one, so just to give you an idea of the size comparison, we'll compare it here to a shield, and you'll see that the shield is actually a little longer in the grip, as you can see there, and right about the same in overall in terms of slide length. Now, compared to the Glock 26, which I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with, you'll see some differences there. We'll put that one underneath the show. The grip's actually a little bit longer on the SCCY, and it's actually, kind of line them up back to back, if you will, a little bit shorter in the overall length. Now, the barrel on the SCCY is 3.1 inches, so you guys have seen a few tests that I've done here on the short barreled 9mm ammo, and certainly 3.1 inches. There are loads out there that will do a good job with it. You can see the slide there is right at, actually let me go to the widest point, this will do that, is just under an inch. Now compared to a Glock 26, for instance, it is almost identical in terms of width. So width, almost exactly the same. So if you can carry the Glock 26, you'll have no problem carrying the SCCY, and it actually is a good bit lighter, so it'll feel even lighter on your hip. Those of you that are longtime subscribers know that I really don't care much about the features of a gun if it's not reliable. This gun, on that note, has been 100% reliable. We've shot everything from the Wolf steel case stuff all the way up to HSTs and gold dots, and it's ate them up just fine. The only issue, I guess you could say, that I've had with it is a few times the slide has failed to lock back on me, and I don't know if that's me actuating the slide release here with my thumb or if it's the gun. I really don't know. My guess is I'm actually hitting the slide release because it is relatively large, like I pointed out earlier, so it's probably shooter error, not the gun. But so you certainly can't complain about the reliability, and obviously that's not an extensive test. But if you guys want to see a torture test of this gun, actually, check out Iraq Veteran 88's video. It's very, very entertaining. I'll put a link here in the video so you guys can check it out. But he does some stuff to this gun that I wouldn't want to do to any gun, and it does extremely, extremely well, and is quite an impressive video. But yeah, reliability's been great, and you certainly can't complain about that when you think of the MSRP of this gun. It's, I believe, $315. So at that price point, for the gun that you get, it is a lot of gun. I mean, is it going to replace the Glocks, the M&Ps, and stuff like that for folks who do a lot of high volume shooting? No. But folks who just want a cheap, I don't want to say cheap, a low cost, reliable gun, I mean, so far, at least with this sample, it's done that job and it's done it well. But if you guys have any questions about this gun or anything else to talk about here in the review, you can always post below in the comments section as always. You can also post over at my Facebook page. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next video.